Hello, and welcome to the second edition of the Conservative Underground News Show. Today is Sunday, October 25th. I'm Nancy Wright.
And I'm John Johnson. Tonight, we will be discussing healthcare reform in the swine flu epidemic, and we will touch briefly on the environment.
John, would the environment like for you to touch it, really?
Well, maybe if you are there too, it won't be too uncomfortable about being touched.
Somehow, you made that even creepier.
Well, you started it.
Anywho. Bloomberg.com is reporting today that Senate Democrats are leaning toward including a government-run insurance plan in a healthcare measure that would let individual states opt out, a proposal House leaders signaled would be acceptable. The establishment of the so-called public option to compete with private insurers is opposed by Republicans and has split Democrats. To get support from reluctant members of his party, Senate Democratic leader Harry Reid of Nevada is likely to include the opt-out version in the legislation.
What does that mean to you? It means that even if the public option passes, it may not be available in your state if the state legislators decide not to participate. But does that mean you're not going to be taxed the same? Not on your life.
Pull back on the drama there, John.
Better.
Compared to what? While this ability for a state to avoid the public option, it must still provide federal funding to help aid the states that do. The more states who participate, the more the other states will have to basically donate, because the money has to come from somewhere.
I'm going to pretend that I don't understand and ask you to elaborate a bit more.
Okay. Well, financially speaking, no state is an island.
Hawaii is an island.
That's not what I mean.
And Rhode Island is an island too.
Actually, it isn't.
Really? Then why did they name it Rhode Island?
Honestly, I don't know. But that's so far off of the point I am making.
I know. I only asked you to elaborate so I could mess with you. I'm sure our audience is smart enough to know what this means. And if you still think the public option is good, that is because it sounds good if you don't understand it. The Democrats want people to think the public option is about being a nice, giving person. They want people to think if you oppose the public option then you hate poor people. But the reality is, if there is no public option, and most forms of government-enforced charity are eliminated, we would all have more of our own money to be voluntarily charitable with. It also means you won't have to work as hard to make a living wage.
Exactly. The higher the tax on everything is, the higher the price for each product or service. So the price goes up without the quality going up. This means that, if you need to make $10 an hour for 40 hours to meet your bills, and your tax rate is 40%, you have to get a job that pays $14 an hour, so you can keep the 10 you need.
But add the public option and cap and trade and stimulus packages, and your tax burden increases. Now you have to find a job that pays $18 or $20 an hour so you still have the 10 left over that you need. This means now you have to put in much more effort into your work to make yourself worth the $20 an hour you are getting paid, when you used to only have to be worth $14 an hour.
And let's not forget, this increase affects your bills also, and you may need more than the original $400 a week to meet your bills. If you can't, then you might have to turn to the government for a handout which drives everything up again. It's what we call a vicious cycle.
Can we talk about something less scary now?
Well, the swine flu is our next topic.
Oh, yeah, that's less scary. I hope you can hear the sarcasm in my voice.
No. Not at all.
Are you being sarcastic now?
Can't you tell?
No comment.
Well, anyway, the swine flu epidemic, also known as H1N1, is running rampant over most of the northern hemisphere. And in the southern hemisphere, only Australia and New Zealand seem to have been affected.
There have been reports that many people have died from this disease, and there is no cure for those who are inflicted. So far, there is only a vaccine available for prevention. It just so happens that there is a lot of controversy about this vaccine. Some have tied this to the science fiction predictions that the government is going to one day use a vaccine to inject citizens with microchips or a chemical to make everyone sterile, and would create an epidemic like this to make everyone get it out of fear.
Those theories have been publicly addressed by medical experts who have asserted that the vaccine is safe. The next concern is unknown long-term health side effects, and again medical experts have stated that the base ingredients for the vaccine are the same as in our regular flu shots, and the procedure for making this formula was nothing new.
Of course, sorry to interrupt here, but if the conspiracy theories are correct, wouldn't there still be medical experts who attest to exactly that?
Well, I guess so. I guess, if there was a negative aspect, we would have heard by now, right?
Would we?